Bklyn Independent Television.
What's up in downtown Brooklyn? Up is the operative word, with so many new high-rise condo and office towers in various stages of completion. Which corporations are moving into the area? Are small businesses benefiting from all of these big buildings and new residents? And has the push for development been affected by the recession? Just a few of the questions we are going to ask Joe Chan, president of the Downtown Brooklyn Partnership. Joe, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start with, what are the sort of boundaries that the partnership covers in downtown?
Well, we define downtown Brooklyn as basically being Tillery Street on the north, Court Street on the west, with a little bit of Cadman Plaza West mixed in on the northern end, Atlantic Avenue on the south, and on the east it gets a little more complicated because we go around what's known as the BAM district, or the Brooklyn Academy of Music district, but essentially Ashland Place on the east.
Okay, so that's a wide territory for you to cover. A lot of new projects, a lot of new development. Can you sort of give us an overview of these projects?
Absolutely. You know, downtown Brooklyn was rezoned in 2004 by the Bloomberg administration to really not only grow it as the city's third largest central business district, but to grow it as a 24/7 mixed-use community where a number of uses could coexist, peacefully and in a complementary way. From commercial office space to residential buildings and hotels and institutions of higher learning. One thing that many people don't know about downtown Brooklyn is there's 57,000 full and part-time students who come to school in downtown Brooklyn every day. So having just really a downtown to a borough of 2.5 million people was the goal, and certainly there was an opportunity to catalyze a lot of private investment in 2004. And since that rezoning, we've seen a number of trends. One is the emergence of a residential neighborhood. In the 2000 census, there were probably 200 or 300 people who lived in the downtown Brooklyn core. Since 2006. Over 5,000 new apartments have been built. We think by the end of 2012 there will be 12,000 residents in downtown Brooklyn, which we also like to promote as one of the most sustainable communities in New York City, since it's served by 14 subway lines, 15 bus lines, and even a commuter rail line. We've also seen significant expansion of downtown Brooklyn as a hospitality district. You know that the Brooklyn Marriott was opened in 1998. In 2006, Josh Muss expanded that by, I want to say, another 300 or so rooms. Since then...
And brought in Morton's.
And brought in Morton's as well.
Sure.
Since then, a number of other hotels have followed Josh's lead. First, the New Hotel, which is a boutique hotel owned by a Philadelphia-based real estate investment trust. And more recently, a 320-room Sheraton on Duffield Street. Right next to it, a 180-room A-Loft on Duffield Street. And right across the street, and opening in a few months, will be a boutique hotel called the 718 that's developed by a group called V3. You know, in terms of other big trends, you've got the reestablishment of downtown Brooklyn as a shopping district. You know the history of the Fulton Mall as really the place where all Brooklynites shopped in its heyday, where there were probably 5 or 6 department stores operating at any given time, catering to a diversity of shoppers and offering products at a diversity of price points. Right now what we're seeing on the Fulton Mall and in downtown Brooklyn in general is a reestablishment of the area as the borough's shopping district. And we're also seeing growth of the academic community in downtown Brooklyn.
So in terms of the shopping districts, it's not just Fulton anymore, right?
Yep. It's not just Fulton anymore. Fulton is clearly the area's, but also really the borough's shopping destination. That's where you'll find destination shopping, whether it's department stores or bigger stores. Stores come to Fulton Mall because they want volume. And they want access to a broad swath of Brooklynites. Then you've got Court Street, which has evolved dramatically over time. Really a good mix of small businesses and a few larger businesses like Barnes & Noble and Regal Cinemas. Atlantic Avenue, which is on the southern edge of downtown Brooklyn, has evolved into something very special with a great collection of boutiques, restaurants, and shops, but also added, some national-level retailers like Trader Joe's, Barney's Co-op, and Urban Outfitters. And then two other very interesting streets are Livingston and Skirmahorn streets, which, as you know from your time in downtown Brooklyn, were kind of littered with surface parking lots and kind of a mishmash of uses. There we're seeing
a lot of government buildings.
A lot of government buildings. Yeah. We're seeing, an influx of new residential properties being developed there. And some very kind of interesting and productive retail uses as well.
So all of these trends seem to indicate that there's just a lot more people in downtown, and there's a great buzz and 24/7 sort of activity. How has this helped some of the existing small businesses that were there?
Well, I think in terms of volume, it's helped a lot. You just have, like you said, you have more people in downtown Brooklyn. But I think it's also kind of a temporal thing. You have more people at times of day and week when you didn't necessarily have people before.
Sure.
Like, for example, downtown Brooklyn after 5 o'clock a few years ago was a ghost town. It's still, on its way to being fully populated, but you'll see a lot of residents and even students, walking the streets late at night now. Sunday afternoon was also a time when downtown Brooklyn was just absolutely dead.
Sure, yeah.
Because it was a commercial district. Now, you'll see people eating in restaurants, you'll see people congregating in some of the open spaces. So it's changing, and that's good for small businesses. A number of businesses have kind of cropped up to serve the emerging residential community. One of them is Brooklyn Fair, which was downtown Brooklyn's first supermarket. We're seeing a lot of entrepreneurial opportunities now in something called DeKalb Market, which is an open-air market that really caters towards artisans and craftspeople and food businesses on the site of the Albee Square Mall.
Right. And with all this development, you've also managed to create more open space as well.
Yep, absolutely. One of downtown Brooklyn's competitive disadvantages for many years has been its public realm, just how it looks and feels when you're out on the streets. So the Bloomberg administration committed about $200 million towards improving the public realm. You walk down the Fulton Mall now, it's gotten a significant facelift from the creation of a new park on the eastern end, just a few hundred feet away from Junior's, to the installation of new lights, bus shelters, and a real new streetscape environment along the mall. There's open spaces being built at Hoyt and Skirmahorn Street, at Willoughby Plaza, which is at Adams Street and Willoughby Street. And most notably, there's going to be a 1-acre park built directly across the street from the J.P. Morgan Chase building called Willoughby Square.
So this has been a fantastic story. It's been a real, true downtown revitalization, and we have a lot to be proud of, and you have a lot to be proud of. So let me just end by just asking you briefly about your new endeavor.
Sure. I will be leaving the Downtown Brooklyn Partnership after 5 years to go work at the state, to work with Kenneth Adams, who was both of our former boss, but be joining his senior leadership team. I really think there's a great opportunity to do economic development through government. I worked at City Hall for 5 years under a great mayor. And now I look forward to to working at ESD under a great governor and under a great ESD CEO. It's an opportunity to do things both in Brooklyn and outside of Brooklyn. The governor has issued a clear mandate on increasing job opportunities across the state, and I'm just lucky to be able to be part of that.
Well, I think the state's lucky to have you, and we're happy to have you here today. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Download this program's podcast on iTunes. Keywords Brooklyn Independent Television.